I know. Hope he doesn't get that too. What's going on? I'm too much fun. All right. I'd like to call Review County Board of Commissioners work session for Wednesday, December 11th, 2024 at 10 a.m. We have review work session discussion meeting minutes. No changes. All right, no questions. We'll move to department head report. Any department head report? Go ahead. No, she said you first, Dan. She knows you're bringing bad news.
Good morning. Just wanted to let everyone know that I met with Lennon Smith and Solar Engineering yesterday and Jeff Lou from the Conservation District, and we are all in agreement and all on the same page that we are safe to move forward with the dredging sediment ponds, which is a good thing because it's been advertised, it's out for bid,
right?
And the bid packet's on our website and everything like that. So we all agree there. Where there's a little bit of discrepancy and we have time to work, worry about that. We need to get straightened out moving forward, being able to clean those things in the future whenever we want. So 8-10 years from now, whenever they need cleaned again, we don't have to go through what we're going through now. There's a little bit of discrepancy as to the permit that was issued in 2004. DEP is saying that permit shouldn't have been granted, but the fact of the matter is it was granted. Right. And there's never been anything that was revoked and or anything like that. So that's.
But there's some maintenance that's supposed to happen every 5 years or something,
yes,
right? To continue to
do. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions for Dan? All right. Treasurer Egley?
Good morning, Commissioners. I wanted to report that the outstanding report on taxes right now, before the end of the year, I have outstanding $4,466,000. That is a huge jump from last year when my outstanding at this time last year was $3,149,000. And I do believe that it is because we've lost so many of our court appeals, the court orders that have come down, that all of the properties that were reassessed and the amount is now lower, that I will not be able to collect that amount.
We haven't collected as much as what we collected last year.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But it's based off of the amount that we said at the beginning of the year that I would collect. Now it's changed because of the losses that were court ordered.
Yeah, I thought we projected it would be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars based on the appeal
pretty close to
into the budget for next year.
We had budgeted to stay pretty static. I didn't look at it today, but I think what you're referring to is the appeals that were coming off.
Yes.
You're saying you're comparing it to what was outstanding at the beginning of the year versus what the
Yes.
actual collection is. Okay.
Yes.
Which makes sense, because there were numbers in there that we anticipated.
Yeah, we anticipate there were appeals that were ongoing, and we've got another 170 this year that are gonna probably have the same type of effect.
Right.
Like, whenever there's appeals, the total number of the assessed value throughout the county is gonna go lower once those appeals get resolved, generally
Well,
speaking.
I usually collect 57 million. The total budget is 57 million in between that, and I see this year of the 2025 is going to go up to 58.
Yeah, I think we're on track budget-wise, but we had budgeted in last year a cushion because we didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, right, with the appeals that were pending, we anticipated.
Yeah, the bigger question I think that we have going forward is how much of that was actually lost and, is going to carry forward into tax claim and therefore hopefully be collected in some future years, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other department head report? Director Brewer?
Just Kevin, you didn't want to do it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see Kevin raise his hand.
We got another grant, and I'm happy to say $10,000 from Energy Transfer will be getting some equipment from. We've done pretty good in grants this year, probably about 50,000 that haven't gotten passed for whatever reason. That might on our major trade road. The other thing last night, about midnight-ish or so, was our first drone response, official drone response, I guess you could say. We assisted the detectives and the regional police on a search of a distraught person.
Yeah, Eric, Director, when you say drone response, I'm not sure if everyone knows how, we saw a lot of news media in regards to either Allegheny County or Pittsburgh City Police with the drone team. I think you guys were one of the first ones in the region. So at this time, Eric, can you explain to everyone, when you say drone response, can you explain what we have and what we do? You've been out on barricaded situations with the ESU team and SWAT team. You've also been out
Field searches.
for a couple searches when it came to the ESU. But when you say your first drone response, this is not a hostage situation. This was a call out for a missing person, to say.
Basically a suicidal person.
But can you tell everyone what we have when you say drone response? What do we have here in Beaver County, I guess?
We have two actually new purchases to us. One is what's called a tethered drone, which can stay up for hours. It's plugged in, not a battery source, plugs in on 110, and we monitor things, whatever those things are, for hours. We can send that feedback to different places. If the command post somewhere, the police department wanted to
Phones.
do it.
Yeah, I saw that in operation. It's really pretty cool.
We copied off of Allegheny whenever we were using it for the dignitary visits that came through during election time, right? So Harris was in Rochester, that was up for the Secret Service, liked it. And that drone stayed up for 4 or 5 hours. A normal drone is about 30 to 45 minutes on the battery, so. That's the first one. The second one is a normal drone, where it actually takes an operator to use it. Batteries are 30 to 40 minutes. We're going through training now, certifications for that. They're pretty kind of strict. Like last night, we called the FAA, told them where we were gonna be, and they saw us in case a helicopter or news media was flying in the area also. So we have two, one's a tethered, one's an actual, takes a couple actually, but to watch the screen, one to fly it. So they're good resources. We use them for hazmat situation, large fires, search and rescues. Damage assessment is big. So if a flood goes through, tornado, the way we get money is determining how much damage is done. We have to meet a threshold. We have to take, in the past, a helicopter or something could fly over. Now we can get those images quick.
Landslides, those kinds of things.
Many different uses. So yeah, landslides are big.
And controller.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, with your, I'm gonna ask, so drones aren't new to us. We've gotten some new technology that we've expanded
Yeah.
our capabilities now because we've got a couple of new units, but we've had drones for a while.
So we've always carried a smaller drone, I think, and Eric, you could speak more on it. It wasn't as technology friendly and advanced as what has been purchased in the last year or two. And also the training that he's gonna be putting his staff is, I would say management level staff, obviously not the regular telecommunicators that we have in 911, but emergency management staff. And plus, I know Chief Young in the detective's office has a few on his ESU team who are going through the same training just in case they're not available. We were able to repurpose a sheriff deputy's SUV that they were getting rid of with 90,000 miles. They had it on the auction. We took it off, and it's under Eric's office now, where they store all that equipment in, which is secured at his building, or either down in Ambridge or down at Brady's Run. But so it's able to be deployed. I don't know if stickers got put on it yet. It won't have lights or anything. It'll just say Beaver County Drone Team, or I don't know what their title is, but
Right now, it's my vehicle.
looks like undercover cop car company.
It doesn't have safety.
It drives.
Yeah, it drives, has air conditioner and heat, so.
But so when we were talking this morning, in the past, there would have been 10 police officers down there searching. Last night, there was 1 police officer, 3 others were going a DUI on 65. So manpower wise, it cuts down on manpower in the future. There's some things we saw that.
And in the past, we would use an organization called Unmanned Response. They're still a good partner with Eric's team. They're still on call. I know when there was an incident in Ambridge, we talked about yesterday briefly, Eric's team was there having the drones up. They were new to it, but Unmanned Response was also there having their drones up. And I don't believe they don't charge the county, correct? Yeah, they don't charge the county for their services, but they're not always available. And there's always a time frame when they can and can't get there. They're working individuals, whether they're off or not. Some are retired, but they'll also provide the training. So they do that. They're one of the ones that provide the training that's needed, the certificates that's needed for the pilot's license, drone pilot's license. So. Thanks, Eric. Kevin, did you have your hand up? Oh, I thought you did. Okay. Any other department head? All right, no other department head. We'll move to the solicitor's office.
60 resolutions are on the agenda for tomorrow, going through some of them. 10 through 31 are all various CYS programs and services. 32 is, we have 5 current bargaining unit contracts that are up at the end of the year. 32 would be an agreement with one of those bargaining units for a new collective bargaining agreement for 3 years for those employees who are in the adult probation, juvenile services, and domestic relations office. 33 is the budget. Total budget is approximately $292 million. I don't know if you want to pause there and bring anything up, or Corey with anything at this
I think you could finish yours and then we'll have Sean and then Corey.
Number 41 and 56 are both services that are provided to the jail. They're contracts for medical services and also for food services. We've extended both of those for 1 year, feeling it was best to get those in for 1 year. Then once our new warden comes on board, to work with them to put these, both of these out for bid starting in 2026. Number 44, we had an individual who approached us previously based on money that they received from Shell to do a tree nursery in Beaver County down beside the lodge. This would do a educational program and do a tree nursery there. It's a 10-year lease for that individual to use that particular piece of property. If you're looking at the lodge sort of to the left of it. Number 47 and 48 are local share grant applications. One's for the Fallston Bridge to look at a study on that. And the other one is for the Neighborhood North Museum in Beaver Falls to possibly look at relocating their facility to a different building. 49 is an agreement that would allow the tax claim office to accept credit cards for payments for taxes in the tax claim. And then number 50 is what's called a TRAN, which we have historically done, I think, the last 3 or 4 years with our Human Services building. Attorney Sean Garen's here for that. I don't know if there's any questions, or Sean, you want to just give us a brief highlight as far as what we're doing here?
Sure, as you said, Garen, we've done this for years now. This is put in place in an effort to the extent that any state reimbursements would be delayed or extended. This enables Human Services to draw on a line of credit, pay whatever payments they need to make, awaiting reimbursements from the state. There have been historically problems with that. I don't know if it's been drawn on since we put it in place, but it's just sort of a belt and suspenders approach to preventing any mismatching of cash and revenues for Human Services. Huntington Bank has agreed to re-up.
They've done it the last couple of years, right?
Huntington has always been the provider on this. That's
And I spoke with Lisa McCoy, and she agrees that she wants it in place.
It's great protection for us.
Correct. Number 59 is an agreement with Reed Oil as far as providing gas and oil for our various departments. And then number 60 is an agreement with Susquehanna to continue to do the cost allocation plan through 2027 with option years for 2028 and 2029. I do need an executive session for personnel and negotiation matters.
Any questions for the solicitor's office? All right, we'll move back to Garen since he brought up the resolution 33 for the final county budget.
Yep,
So presented tomorrow.
First off, I just want to say thank you to all the departments and all the effort that went in there. The budget is a major undertaking. Thank you to commissioners, their staff, controller, your staff, put a lot of effort and time into this. That being said, turning to the budget is the same as was proposed. There have been no changes. As Garen mentioned, the total budget is $229,472,080.
I guess 292, right?
229.
229.
Yep, 229, 472, 080 should be the number in there, in the resolution. Put the number in there. Should be.
That's my fault. Yeah, 229, sorry.
There is no increase, millage will remain the same, no tax increase, so 3.67 mils. That's pretty much the extent of it.
Any questions for Corey? All right,
That's great news.
thank you, Corey. We'll move to the Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Mann?
Just a couple of, any feedback from the sheriff's sale yesterday? I didn't hear. I know they had it yesterday in Rochester.
I spoke with Josh. I don't remember the number of sales. Nothing stood out as
I
unordinary.
know it was over in the Rochester
Right.
building, correct? I didn't hear anything one way or the
Seems
other,
to
so
have
I
gone
was
well.
I could check into that.
curious. I didn't get to, I don't know if you guys got this, the notice that all the permitting between CCBC and the airport authority for the new terminal there for CCBC, which we've all been adamantly pushing along. It'll be a great addition to CCBC in the aviation program. I mean, that terminal was built in what, 1971 or something like that. So they're upgrading the terminal. It's a great win for the college, great win for the airport authority. I think it's a great win for the community to have that airport upgraded. We just got from Michael Baker all the approvals that construction can start probably beginning of next year. So just wanted to mention that. The only other thing is, I know Jerry's talked about the van and stuff. And I don't know if our folks can do this, but maybe purchase a remote starter for that. So that if it is outside, is that something? Jerry's shaking his head, you don't want a remote starter.
It doesn't work with a remote starter.
It doesn't.
No,
It can't be,
no.
one can't be added.
It's a key operated, period, not a push button.
I don't think.
Yeah,
I think
I think you can still
remote,
put them, I mean.
but I think you'd have to use a auto dealership or something to put that in.
Okay. Anyway, I was just offering that as a potential help in inclement weather with windshield clearage and that kind of
There's a
stuff.
way around the remote start thing. I don't want to make it public, but there's a way around it. We've already taken care of it.
Oh, okay. But I made a note that that might be a possibility for some stuff.
Somebody might decide to take it for a ride. If they knew,
It's gonna stick out in the crowd if they do. But if you've got it handled, Jared, that's good. All right. That's why.
All right, any other business? We'll move to audience participate, oh, sorry.
Just to touch base on this a little bit, I know there were some concerns with the van being parked out where it is. There has been a sign installed for the, a reserved spot for the van.
Facing the other way on Market there. Yeah.
Thank you. We'll move to audience participation. Ms. Wolf? Maria?
Maria Wolf, Ohio. You mentioned the budget and there was a man who had come in and talked about the conservation district asking for $100,000. Is that included in that budget?
Do you want to explain that?
Yeah, so it's included at its current rate of, I'll call it subsidy, and then there's a contingency line that if the commissioners so approve, it can be funded fully, but that's ultimately a commission.
So, yes, it's included in the budget under the contingency line for other items to be pulled out. So it isn't in the,
Yeah, so typically.
it isn't a line item in the budget, no.
It's
but
in the operating budget.
Yes.
Right, so it can be adjusted from contingency if so decided by the commissioners.
So if we're gonna give them like almost a 70% increase.
That particular part is not in the budget, that's up for decision of the board.
Yeah.
What's in the budget is their existing allocation.
Their existing allocation of $150,000 is in the budget under a line item under the subsidies.
Correct.
the additional funds that they're requesting would come out of contingency
It
and
would come out of
and move it over.
contingencies. It's built into the budget that can be used for multiple things, including open salary, benefit, negotiations, that kind of thing.
So like I'm having you have a buffer in the budget is what you're saying?
We have a
That they can
contingency,
use for other things,
Built in.
including that?
correct, for contingency items that have not been approved per se in the budget, but can be if they so
And
desire.
things that come up during the course of the year that we don't anticipate.
Almost thinking of like a savings account for your house,
It's a.
that if
reserve fund.
unanticipated things come up, we can go into that particular line item and move things around if needed.
Yeah, I just was thinking though, that if you give it to them at the beginning of the year for their budget, for their salaries and stuff, then you wouldn't have it for any other contingencies that might come up throughout the year.
Correct, it's a pot of money that's used for all contingencies.
So to clarify too, I think for that pot of money, so the commissioners approve so many subsidies with this budget. Those go through. This contingency money, they will have to come back and approve that separately in a public meeting
Correct.
to do that. So it will be voted on again. It's not like they can just do it not in a public meeting. That money, when they decide to pull from that pot, that's what they vote on it in a public meeting. Only the subsidies that are approved in the budget, those are public now, so they're good. But if they decide to give them the extra 100,000, the commissioners will have to come back and publicly do that. Correct, am I right?
Correct.
So it would be brought up again.
Oh, thank you.
That includes everything from the community college on down to conservation
Correct.
district and a few other
And that's historically how,
related organizations.
yeah, how those have been budgeted are static because there hasn't been a tax increase. So, you know, any additional funding would be considered out of either budgetary savings or contingency if necessary.
Thank you. Thank you for clarification.
Thank you. Any other audience participation? Go ahead, Laura.
Becky Gallagher.
Becky, I'm sorry.
I wondered if you could give us an update on the Beaver County Times building?
Yeah, at this time, we are still not only exploring that building, we're looking at other options that can be had for the projects as a whole. We're pretty much status quo as is, you know. What was that, in October, we signed a contract with Mr. Rack. It was October, September, October-ish. He hasn't done any work yet for this at all because we haven't sent anything over to him. There hasn't been any negotiations regarding the property either. Commissioner Manning has gone out and explored some other options and presented it to the board. So at this time, it's just status quo. We got some clarification in regards to the access contract, I guess you could say. It will be up in 2026, so we still have some time for that, but to get something prepared, it'll take some time. Just this last week, we got an increase in.
Also a notification they're increasing their rates. for next
Increasing
year.
their rates for, you know, to pull one box out, it's gonna be upwards of $20 per box. I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of boxes we have there. But at this time, there's really no update because it's just been status quo since we started to explore all other options.
I had thought that there was something that had to be done by the end of the year, by
No.
December 31st.
No.
Okay.
Now, the contract with the mines runs all the way through
Yeah, it's
next year.
November of 2026.
So we've got plenty of time to sort that out. But,
But that increase goes into effect.
Yeah.
well, they raised their prices
Yeah,
starting
that's
January
probably,
1st.
that's probably contractual. That's probably was in their original contract where they raised the, they just gave us that update again. So, you know, because we've been talking about for, it's just like, wow, it's still gonna cost some money. No matter what we do, whether we keep it there, go to another location. You know, a lot of individuals who have buildings, I guess, have reached out to us. So we're looking at different options. Because again, it's not just the mines, it's a whole conglomerate of things that we have a need for. It's just we gotta prioritize what the need is.
And this is the third option we've looked at.
So, but yeah, we're still exploring all options, but as for the Times building, I would say it's basically status quo because nothing's been done.
Thank you.
Treasurer?
I'd like to talk about that trend that was mentioned earlier for the Human Services Building. That, it's not under my office, so I kind of wanted to know, is it still $1 million? I think that that's what was discussed whenever it was taken out.
Is it? Did we mention
2 million?
Two.
2 million.
And what is the cost
it's
of that?
behavioral health? Yeah.
What is
I
the
don't
cost
figure
of
that.
that to have a $2 million buffer for them to use?
You're talking about all the fees associated with it. That I don't know off the top of my head, but I know everything's paid through the human services, so nothing comes out of the county's general fund for it.
Okay,
I thought it was $1,000 per year, so it's gonna be in that round.
1,000
I think it was.
per year? Okay.
I thought that's what it was. But we have to look into it.
Because if it's $1 to $2 million, I believe that we have that. Because we're pretty financially stable right now. And paying something to have a what if might be worth a look at.
Did we have this conversation a few years back whenever, I think Sean may have been one of the first times you came in on why we wouldn't pull from our reserve or general fund to subsidize?
I can.
Can you answer that, Corey, please?
The reason being is if we remove it from our funds, we're gonna get less interest, and they're able to charge these costs against their grant program as an eligible cost, which means the county ends up still making their interest that they would have otherwise not made. That's the whole impetus of sort of why this training was in place. So the county doesn't front more money and lose out on the interest that it would earn on its money in order to subsidize a grant program that can pay the interest out of this training. That was sort of the impetus of this, is to save the county ultimately money.
And is there a difference between using general fund money to fund CYS, who is owning our general fund right now about $3 million?
That's a different funding stream and not part of this particular transaction. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with CYS. You're saying CYS owes the county $3 million?
Yes.
Yeah, this was a specific agreement that the funder agreed to pay the interest in the event that they did. Not all grant funding is the same way in that regard. So that wasn't contemplated in this particular transaction.
Yeah, this particular one is a situation, and it hasn't happened recently, where the budget doesn't get approved by the state. And because the state budget doesn't get approved in June, we have a situation where there's vendors that are owed money, and the county would either have to not pay the vendors or dip into the general fund. This is put into place if that ever were to happen.
And for the most part, even when the budget isn't passed for those critical human services things, the state usually
Normally.
lets that stuff go through. But if they don't, this is a fund there that can then back up those payments.
I'm sorry, I can't see. I wasn't sure. Any more questions? Okay, you're in like direct line behind Dan and Tony. I'm sorry. Any other audience participation?
I got one more thing. The question was asked yesterday at the judicial sale.
Okay.
I spoke with the assessor, just sent me a message, about $456,000.
That's what they brought
That's
in.
what they brought in from the sale yesterday.
No other audience participation? All right, we will move into executive session. Thank you.